Hello, thank you for joining me in a new video. This time, I will be unboxing the ZTE Blade V70 Max. Let's go ahead and get started. This device falls into the entry-level category, and its launch price in Mexico is 2,999 pesos. On the screen, you can see the reference price in other currencies, though keep in mind that prices here differ from those elsewhere. Come along with me as we explore what's inside the box, which provides some specifications on the outside. In just a moment, I'll share more details about it with you, step by step, counting each one. Let's take the device out of the box. I'm impressed by the new box design, now in a nice red color. Immediately, we see the device with its protective cover, highlighting some standout features. One is its strong durability, a feature many Chinese manufacturers are now proud of. We'll need to test it to determine if it performs well or not. They also emphasize its storage and battery, which appear to be its three main features. Let's power on the device while checking what else is included in the box. Right away, it has a design that suggests it might be a pricier device. We're going to take out this small box, and inside we find a case which is nice. It's a fully transparent case, very flexible with semi-rigid edges that I believe. They do a good job defending the phone, and this is quite convenient because you won't need to search for another case to protect it. Next, we'll find this quick guide, the usual papers, and finally the charger, which thankfully also includes its cable that connects from USB to USB-C with a short length. It's important to note that the charger features a fairly compact design and is rated at 22.5 watts. For the price range, I believe it competes quite well, even though wattage isn't everything. We'll definitely need to test it to determine if it will truly load quickly or not. However, we'll conduct those tests during the review process. For the time being, you should note that it also includes this key to remove the tray, even though it can be quite challenging to take it out. So, that's everything that's included in the box, which isn't bad at all for a device that's considered entry-level. Now, let's turn our attention to the phone itself so we can get to know it better. I have already set up the device here in my hands. As is typical in Mexico, this device comes with a close collaboration with Telcel. This means the wallpaper and some widgets are customized by this phone company. Personally, I find this somewhat undesirable, but fortunately you can remove them. Since the device just powered on, it is running a bit slow. We should test it later once it finishes turning on and configuring everything. In this review, we will demonstrate the performance across a variety of applications and other aspects. However, from the outset, it's evident that it won't particularly excel in terms of fluidity or similar features. But let me share some details about its specifications. It has a thickness of 8.2 millimeters. While the manufacturer doesn't officially disclose its weight, it is estimated to easily exceed 200 grams. According to the manufacturer, the internal plate is crafted from an alloy of aluminum and titanium, which is designed to enhance its resistance to falls. This is something that externally is not. We can check. The screen has a diagonal of 6.9 inches with HD resolution. That is to say, it is 1640 x 720 pixels. Then it is a screen with a low resolution considering the large size it has, but it reaches up to 120 Hz in its refresh rate with automatic adjustment. Then, I do not think it is a bad screen considering the price range in which it competes. And note that now that it's turned on, it seems to be a bit more fluid than it was a moment ago when it was just... To begin with, in this particular case, it only includes a single speaker, and as expected, there's almost no presence of bass frequencies. This is typical of what we would anticipate in an entry-level device. So, up to this point, it hasn't really impressed us either in terms of display or sound quality. It's evident that this is a basic device, but I have to mention that within this price range, there are already a few manufacturers who are starting to stand out by enhancing some of these features. The front camera has 8 megapixels and is positioned in this drop notch, which doesn't appear very modern. In fact, if you pay attention, the bezels are also rather thick. In the preview, it's clear that the camera still doesn't optimize the results very much. The final photograph does show some improvement in terms of highlights and shadows, but the color still appears somewhat pale. Fortunately, the level of detail, I believe, somewhat helps to recover the quality of the photograph, but it is evident that is not a device with exceptional photographic capabilities. In fact, on the back, we will find a 50 megapixel main camera, which in this case has an f-aperture of 1.8 and includes autofocus. However, it lacks optical stabilization. Then we find a camera for depth capture, and the third camera is supposedly artificial intelligence. Essentially, it has one camera and two marketing cameras with a little circle to make it appear symmetrical. But consider that it only has a camera. Now let's examine the results, because while the camera is straightforward, it honestly doesn't appear very appealing. It's designed to meet only the basic needs for photography. However, it's important to note that even when zooming 2 times, we won't encounter any cropping within the sensor. Therefore, there's no advantage in having a 50 megapixel sensor. Keep in mind that the camera is only 12 megapixels. Regarding video recording capabilities, the rear camera can achieve full HD at 30 frames per second, and as for the front camera, it can also do the same. Has exactly the same quality supported. An interesting detail that I appreciate about these devices is that they allow you to disable face detection in video recording. So, even if it doesn't have a very high dynamic range, you can still prevent the background from appearing completely burnt out. The battery has a capacity of 6,000 mAh, which somewhat justifies the fact that it is a relatively heavy device. It supports charging at 22.5 watts, and this charger is included in the box, so the battery is likely to stand out. However, this is just based on numbers and specifications. Remember that in our review, we will conduct several tests to determine if it truly offers a good battery life or not. This device operates on iOS 15 by ZTE, which runs on Android 15. This is a positive aspect because it comes with updates in the background. But being a low-end device, we do not anticipate it will receive numerous updates. It's always nice to see entry-level devices equipped with the latest software version. The manufacturer advertises the device with some artificial intelligence tools. However, in truth, these are Google tools that are found in all other devices. I will take this chance to inform you that the Magic Editor is available here. Although it requires your photo to be uploaded to the internet, this editor lets us select certain images or certain content using artificial intelligence. Although it appears that its detection capabilities may not be the best, you can still delete some objects and it seems to function correctly. In fact, it provides several filling proposals for more complex objects. Given that it is from Google, the performance should be positive. While the detection might not be the most advanced, it does offer tools similar to those found on other Android devices. It also has 4 GB of RAM, which for the range I think is also within the expected and offers extended RAM memory that I would not pay too much attention because it almost never works well. Something positive is that it does have 256 GB of storage, which will give you a very good space to have your photos and videos there without the phone filling up so fast. And finally, the processor is the Unisoc T7200, which is basically the Unisoc T606. Renamed, so do not expect something extremely powerful. If you're into numbers, here are the Geekbench results. For a single core, it scored 391 points, and for multi-core, it achieved 1,365 points. On Antutu, it reached 2,45,345 points. This indicates that it's not a device designed for exceptionally high performance or anything similar, but it's worth noting how its performance has improved. When you first turn it on, it may seem a bit slow because it's handling many processes simultaneously. However, if you have patience and focus on just one or two tasks simultaneously, you can keep a fairly smooth performance. However, it's certainly not a device that will stand out significantly. Nonetheless, it represents well what the low-end offers currently. That concludes this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Keep in mind that soon we will release the video review where we will conduct much more detailed testing. This was just a brief overview to get acquainted with it. If you enjoyed this video, let us know. See you next time.